Let's take a Trading Nation look at ExxonMobil, down over 9% year to date. The energy sector entering an overall correction. Joining us today to make the bull case for ExxonMobil, Sam Margolin, energy analyst and managing director at Cowen, is one of the more bullish price targets on the street on XOM. Sam, it's been interesting. The price of oil back above $60 a barrel, but these stocks can't get out of their own way. The average big cap oil name down 12% in 30 days. Why do you think the market is reacting like this?
Well, some of it's outside of energy. The big cap oil names tend to be income stocks. And so when you're in this rate hike environment, those are the ones that are going to suffer. And I think it's just sort of been a perfect storm with that group. A lot of their valuations are underpinned by dividend yield. And if they're competing with bond yields that are going up, then that's going to be tough sledding for them. But the fundamentals are strong. And realistically, talking about Exxon specifically, it wasn't that far off from our price target 4 weeks ago. And so I think the momentum was there. I think the market was recognizing the overall health of the company, and we just got this interference from the broader market. And the Analyst Day coming up next week is an opportunity to move past that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Let's say some computer program somewhere that says, sell oil ETFs. The XLE, one of the biggest ones, Exxon is more than 20% of that ETF. So do you believe that ExxonMobil is maybe being just sold off because people are selling off bigger ETFs because that's what the interest rate playbook is telling them to do?
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much explains a lot of the moves we see across the board recently over the past several years. In the case of Exxon specifically, though, it is very much an income stock. If you think about it, remove the fundamentals and just think about it as a financial instrument. People own that stock for the dividend. And so if yields are less valuable, it's only natural that you would see this kind of action. But it sets up a buying opportunity.
So why should we buy? You're making a good bear case. Why should we buy ExxonMobil now with rates on the rise?
Well, because this is starting to get baked in. I mean, it's all about finding an entry point. And a 4% yield for Exxon is well above its historical range compared to the S&P 500. And so you have that relative value that's still attractive. At the same time, we put out a report today. We looked at Exxon on an ROIC standpoint next to some of the other stocks in sort of the large cap value space. And Exxon's competing really well across sectors on this metric. We think it's going to have close to a double-digit ROIC in 2018. A lot of that has to do with commodity price tailwinds. The group average of the next 9 down in the top 10 is below 7%. So Exxon looks like a pretty competitive investment, not just within the energy space, but sort of across the value spectrum.
Oil production in the United States above 10 million barrels a day, the highest in 40 years. If prices do tick down over the next couple of months, I don't know if they will, but if they did, would Exxon still be a bullish story if oil's at 55?
Yeah, you hit on an important point because the oil futures curve is taking that into account, right? And so people look at 2019 estimates compared to 2018 for Exxon, and they're actually lower, or at best in line. A lot of that has to do with the shape of the futures curve. And so I think consensus is taking that into account. We see oil prices sort of range bound. It's a pretty simple story. Demand is strong, but you have some supply coming in, and those are fighting with each other. And it keeps everything in a tight range, albeit with some volatility between the highs and the lows. And so it makes for a lot of uncertainty, but you're already taking into account some headwinds on the commodity side if you look at the 2019 consensus estimate. So if anything, we think that can move higher.
Got it. Sam Margolin, Cowen and Company, $100 target on XOM. Sam, it was a pleasure to have you on Trading Nation. Thank you.
Same here. Thanks a lot.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.